Hello everybody, welcome to this special presentation. Today we have the honor to host Mr. Leonard van Betuw, CEO of QUATTRO Exploration. That's a company that has a solid business model because they're conservative in how they're managing their cash flow. The company's making money. And if we take a look at the chart though, compared to a lot of stocks in the venture index, that company has been able to resist the fall that we have seen in the market. So my target entry point on a stock like that will be at 60 cents. So Mr. Betuw is there to tell us more about why his company should represent your next investment. So Mr. Betuw, thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
Excellent. So let's start with your earnings on August 26. Solid earnings, you're still making money. What factors have driven these good results?
Well, we've been maintaining a very disciplined approach to the operation. Concentrating on our existing facilities and making sure we're getting some good economies of scale.
Okay.
So we're not going too far afield from our basic operation and just a sustainable business model and operating within our cash flow.
Okay, excellent. Now, concerning those earnings though, because I know there were some a statement that you released concerning your May 29th news release where there were some discrepancies between your operational earnings. So what steps have you taken since to actually make sure that those discrepancies won't happen again?
Right. Well, the financials, we're very comfortable with the financials and don't see any problems with the discrepancy. Discrepancy was in our reporting in our previous press release, and we want to make sure that we inform the investors that we had meant to report net income, and we had reported our actual net cash flow. So I think it was just important for us to get that out to the market and make sure we don't put anybody astray. We've changed our process in terms of how we're reviewing our press releases.
So you have changed the process?
Yeah. And moving forward, you know, so it's all a process of continually improving corporate governance and getting the operation to do things as it should be.
Excellent. Also, one thing that we saw is that you have increased your capital spending of $50 million. And also the credit facility to $3 million.
Right.
We know you have several projects in the 4 main producing regions in Western Canada. So how will this money be allocated? Which project will receive most of the money?
Right. Well, we're focusing entirely on our development play. 90% of the capital will go towards continuous remediation, but the drilling program will be 90% development and 10% exploration over the course of the 3 years.
Okay.
So as a result of that, we'll be fully oriented towards oil in the next year.
Okay.
And then, so we'll be moving towards an oil-weighted commodity base in the company. Right now, we're 85% gas.
Yeah.
We expect to be 50% oil, 50% gas by the end of 2014.
Why this shift towards oil instead of natural gas?
We're still comfortable with the margins. We have an amazing project in Northwest Alberta. That project has an internal rate of return of 140% at $75 oil.
Okay.
So that is one that has to be taken advantage of, and that's what we're doing.
Excellent. One thing that you mentioned though is that you mentioned that you have projects that are producing oil, but you also have projects that were potential exploration targets, but in order to develop them, it's going to require a lot of cash flow, so they could have a serious impact on your financials.
Right.
With the capital spending that you have of $50 million, will you actually focus on getting those projects that are in an exploratory phase, getting back to the development stage where you can get them to produce, or would you mostly try to upgrade your operation, ramp up your production on your existing projects that are already producing?
I think to allow the investor to continue to feel comfortable that we're modest in the way and conservative in the way we operate, our exploration properties are being categorized as exploration.
Okay.
Excuse me. So as a result of that, with us keeping things on the exploration side, they have the likelihood of about a 50% success rate.
Okay.
So they're exploratory in that nature, but to answer your question directly, they'll quickly advance into a development project.
Okay.
Beyond the first phase of exploration. So 10% we feel is a reasonable combination where we can absorb it, but allow ourselves to continue to improve the pipeline of projects we have.
Yeah. Okay. Now, in the last interview, you also mentioned that you were going to drill a well during the summer in your project in Saskatchewan. Have you drilled that hole, and when can we expect the results of that well?
We've just completed that well here only a couple days ago.
Oh, nice.
So we expect the full results to be out in about 6 months, but because it is a very technically advanced project in terms of being a Bakken play, it takes a proper analysis to determine the fracking capacity and what the performance is going to be on a well-by-well basis. So we expect the full results to be out in about 6 months, but some intermediate results to be out soon in terms of what we felt we have achieved to date on that.
Now, being conservative, having so many projects, have you set a production target rate for the end of the year? What's your production target rate for the end of the year?
We've got in the pipeline the capacity to get to 2,500 barrels a day. With some additional challenges that we've had in terms of getting our partners on board and moving things forward. We feel that we may not quite meet that target of 2,500, although the target may roll over into the new year. So we see 1,900 to 2,100 barrels a day as being a good year-end solid number for us to meet. So,
but with the challenge, have you met a lot of challenges in ramping up your production?
The biggest challenge for us is we want to maintain a very disciplined cost structure. So service providers, they're a little bit more hesitant, but now with the price of oil coming off, actually we see ourselves being in a very advantageous position to move forward. So
excellent. You also signed a letter to acquire some database and pore pressure analysis on the project in Alberta. So what do you intend to do with those data? Because it's only a letter of intent so far.
No, we expect to close that here soon. We don't expect any problems with it in terms of closing the project, and what the project brings to us is ability to fully take advantage of our facilities that we have in northeast British Columbia. Because as a result of that, there's a serious amount of data that's associated with that package that will assist us with our exploratory and development of the Milo area of northeast BC, as well as the full trend in, of the foothills. But our targets being conventional projects that are too small for a super major, but large enough that it'll be a serious impact for us as a company.
Now, concerning your technology, do you have a patent on your extraction technology, or do you use conventional
business? The reality is we feel very proud to have an efficient team that's that you would only normally see in a much larger company. So although, as you said, it's off the shelf technology, but the techniques that we use, I think, are techniques that you would see and be more familiar with, which much bigger names in the industry.
And concerning the because I know in British Columbia there were some laws that were not as business friendly for the mining and oil industry recently. Has this has an impact on the way you're going to invest in British Columbia in the next few quarters, or are you don't see it really as a threat to your?
To date, we don't see it as a threat. Again, some of the other projects, it's unfortunate the decisions that are being made, or some of the indecision that's happening right now. But again, what it is doing is it's tempering back the expectations of the service industry in that area. So we actually see, again, that this has been a net benefit for us as a company.
Now, concerning people who have not watched your first interview when you came to visit us, can you remind those who's looking at your company, actually what we have seen, from what we have discovered since the last interview, we have discovered that you guys are really disciplined, conservative, you're managing your cash flow tight, making money. What could be 3 reasons that you would tell an investor who's not convinced yet that your company should represent his next investment? What 3 reasons would you tell him that, you know what, I think you should reconsider a thought for QUATTRO Exploration because our company is unique?
I think the most important one to understand is that we have a very sustainable business plan. It's been tested against much more conservative commodity prices than maybe the industry's been using for the last year. As a result of that, and even at those conservative prices, our recycle ratio is about 60% of our cash flow.
Okay.
So we have a lot of room in terms of making sure that we can carry forward with our projects before we have any challenges. Industry-wide, I think what an investor could be happy with is the fact that we are already trading at a very undervalued situation. So even if the market comes a little closer to us, we're not changing our business model at all. So we have momentum on our side. And I think the other very important aspect of the company is that the projects that we have are the kind of projects that will carry forward, even with if there was some 18 to 24 months before there's a crossover between supply and demand, that our projects are ramping up within that type of environment. So.
Now concerning the, just the last question is here concerning Guatemala, because I know it was also part of your strategy, long-term strategy to get into Guatemala. So are you still looking at that, or are you more focused right now on the projects in Canada, making sure that they're continuing to be profitable?
Yeah, the projects in Canada are the things that are driving the bottom line right now for the next 18 to 24 months. There's still continual business going on in Guatemala, all important for as we start ramping up things. But the reality of it is do they affect the immediate results of the company? No. No. It's the kind of stuff that you'll start to see in the latter part of 2015, where the activity starts to become familiar to the marketplace. 2016, some financial impact to the company. So that's been the, yes, so to answer your question, the focus has been Western Canada for the next 18 months.
Excellent. So Mr. Betuw, definitely we love the update that you just gave us today. We definitely look forward to hear back from you again if ever you have any news concerning your projects in Canada, especially with the new data that you acquired in Alberta, though. Whenever the news comes out, never hesitate to contact us again to update our viewers in this situation.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Take care.